Um, Something came to my attention. Two Green Berets that were hired to create a rebellion and catch high value targets in Venezuela. It was Luke Denman and Aaron Berry, two decorated Green Berets, American servicemen. They've been sentenced to 20 years, I believe, and they were Operation G-Don. Is that correct? They they were going to try to kidnap people, high-ranking people in the government over there, and they were going to foment revolution. I applaud this. I mean, stuff like this just reminds me as an American, we're the bad guys. Like, even in the middle of this pandemic, America's still trying to foment revolutions all over the world. Like, we can't even stop in a pandemic. We can't even. It's like a junkie. Like a junkie can't stop doing drugs. Like the house can be on fire, they still gotta do their dope. You know, the minute they get out of the fire, like I'm trying to get high. I'm trying to get high. It's just like I just realized that now that we're the bad guys. And you know, one thing Michael Brooks taught me, and I was kind of already going towards this before I learned this. He just put it in a conceptual thing, the internationalist look. I celebrate this. I celebrate this, guys. I want to be clear. I think about the Bay of Pigs with Kennedy. You know, I celebrate this. It just this kind of stuff just shows you America is an illegitimate government. It just does. Like in the middle of a pandemic, you're still out here putting like, and then somebody will sit up here and try to say like, well, it was a foreign mercenary. Remember when Trump was messing with Eric Prince? This is like when he first got elected, bringing him in and talking to him and stuff. And they were talking about like privatizing the war in Afghanistan. I don't know where it went. I just stopped following it. It was a scumbag. This is where that's going to. Like, this is where we're at now. And the idea that in a pandemic, your attention would be on the people, like this stuff just reminds me that as an American, our lives really don't matter. Like, it is the military-industrial complex. It is what they want. It is their interests. We just live here. Like the, you know, like the part, like the story go. Like, you know, you just live here. I run, like, you know, we don't have any control over this. You know, I remember when they had those Green Berets that got killed in Nigeria. Somewhere in Africa. They got murdered. They got killed. The ambush killed. And no one knew they were there. And I think, like, even with Lindsey Graham was like, he wished they had actually told the Senate that they were there so he could run interference. Like, they're just here to be bootlickers and support whatever the fascists do. But they were mad, like, that you didn't give them advance heads up. Like, that's how insular the military-industrial complex has gotten, to where, like, they just do shit. Like, America's just always at war. Like, it's just, like, you just do shit. It's just, it's not like, oh, well, like, they're always doing shit. It's just sometimes they fuck up or they get caught up and, oh, well, the soldier got killed. Like, that's what I realized from Obama to Trump, is that, like, we're always at war. We're in all these little private wars of light and darkness all over the place. And because largely those battles, those assassinations are conducted via clandestine means or drones, it doesn't affect the average American. I mean, I mentioned it. When we lost 80 Marines in 1 week in Fallujah, which is a small town, that was big. I mean, there's people, I went to church when I was a kid, who was scared that we'd start drafting again. And I've heard that before. I heard that, you know, it just, when I hear that, it comes from people who aren't political, who, like, don't follow this stuff. But it's like, because they don't care. And like now they don't have to care because of how it's being done. But they know that these warmongers will do it. They will, like, if like these stubborn warmongers, if they go out here and they get stuck somewhere, they'll start drafting our asses. And I used to think that was goofy when people would say that. No, it's not goofy. A lot of Americans don't follow this stuff, but they know this stuff goes on, and they know that's how our economy works. That's the way our history goes, is imperialism. Stealing interest, stealing oil, assassinating people, taking out leaders who want to nationalize resources for the good of their countries. No, we're going to put our corporations in, and if you resist our corporations, we'll kill you. You know, that's America's history, and they kind of know it. And when bad things happen, they get scared. See, one thing about this era is people are getting scared. And the way I always thought the capitalist system really swung, or really when they were really hooking, is when people weren't scared. Like, people could just go watch a football game and eat fried chicken. People could just like go do stuff. And it's like, whether it be the pandemic, whether it be taking money from Pentagon for the border wall, whether it be all the other shit Trump has done that's made crisis worse. Like, all this stuff, it's like capitalism doesn't care anymore. There's no pretense. There's no faking it. Like, we're just doing shit, and you better not get in the way. And even if you do, we're gonna still do shit. We're gonna still assassinate people. And I just don't think, like, it's kind of like all of the stuff. What's the guy's name? Like Alan Dulles and his brother and all the shit they did. It's like even they kind of knew somewhat of being secretive and like keep things in the closet, keep things quiet. And it's like this whole Trump era isn't just Trump doing stupid, fucked up shit. It's like they're not even scared no. Like, they talk about the protests and the violence, but that's not what I see. I see a government acting 110% illegitimately. And the government's like, so what? You know, kidnap people and run around with ski masks on. Like, I see a government that's just like, we're a lot further right than people even want to admit. And I had to be slapped over the head to see that. It goes back to Charlottesville. You know, that we're not getting there. Like, we're there. I mean, the only thing that we haven't gotten like the Nazis yet is the economy hasn't gotten that bad. We're not in a depression yet. We're not having a famine yet. Like, we're you can still kind of live right now. You can still live. In certain areas, you can still live like you did before. Whereas the Nazis, they had a famine. You had the Great Depression. The mark was devalued, I think. You know, you had World War I. People were mad about that. It was a lot of stuff that led up to World War II. It wasn't just race. Let's go kill Jews, and that wasn't it. It was the situation got so bad, and, well, let's be Nazis. And the whole society was based around being a Nazi. The unions were Nazis. The teachers were Nazis. Everything in the society was based around it. And you kind of see that with Trump, with the racism towards Mexicans and all that. You kind of see it as a black sheep, or as a straw man to kind of attack, I guess you could say. Look, I celebrate those 2 Green Berets getting arrested. And I think that the third world, other countries, need to make that point very clear. If you come to my country with the intent to cause revolution, if you come to my country with the intent of raising hell during a pandemic, I'm going to put you in a cage. I'm going to put you in a cage with a man that's going to try to take your manhood. I don't know if many of those men were offered. I don't care. I know there's people on military.com that are probably would defend this shit. And like I said, having the international worldview that I now have, I celebrate this. And I think about Suharto in Indonesia, Manuel Noriega, Saddam Hussein, all these far right extreme sociopaths that America used to engage the left, to deal with the left, that they put in for their purposes. And they were all, sons of bitches, man. All of them are sons of bitches, and the U.S. government used them all. It's, I'll end it here. I was thinking about something earlier, how they say communism has never worked. If you look back at America's history since World War II, that's because we've been assassinating all the communist leaders. That's why. I think they tried to assassinate Fidel Castro like over 100 times. I mean, you had cigars that blew up. I think you had a tie to strangle him. I think they had a scuba suit that was supposed to have poison in it. I know they shot at him. They put people around him. I always think about it, whether it be the assassination attempts on Fidel Castro or whether it be going to space. I always think about, like, what if we had used that money to deal with climate change or to deal with world hunger or to, like, deal with crime and violence and create jobs. Like, I always think about that, like, that money and that energy, because that's a lot of energy to kill one man. I'm sure there were people who their whole job was track Fidel, what he's doing, also find out how to kill him. And I just think about that, how much the U.S. government has invested in weapons of war, destruction, chaos, and fomenting revolution all over the world. I've said it before that, to me, coronavirus was chickens come home to roost. Peace.